No one's gonna know if I don't have a free stream. No one in chat is against me not having a free stream. Going right talking about this, right? Straight up. That's not a thing. It's completely fine that I just go right in. Hey, hey. Nobody needs to know, right? Nobody cares if I just have started. Yeah. I have no pre-stream. I just want to start. I just want to go. I want to talk. I promise it'll be as painless as physically possible. I just want to talk. It's gone on for way too fucking long. Me trying to keep it to myself, being like, you know, I should just be quiet. I should just keep it to myself. Like, no. No. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'm at the point where I'm going to Brian, like, Brian, listen, I need someone to talk to that's not the goddamn wall. I need to talk about this. Because I don't think people understand. First of all, hi. Good to see you all. We're doing it. No, I'm going straight in. I'm going straight balls deep in. I need to talk about this. Because here's the thing. This game legitimately has been haunting me for like years. Since like Seduce Me 2. Like this game has been haunting me. Like ever since me, my mom and my sister kind of like talked about like and tossed back and forth ideas of like games that are not visual novels. So it's become one of those things where it's like, how do I approach this? Because I am not a programmer. I'm not a programmer. I don't do the programming thing other than Python for visual novels and RenPy. I just genuinely don't. Because I'm not smart. I want people to realize I'm not smart. I try and be educated. I try to be intelligent. I try to have emotional intelligence. There are just genuine times where I'm just like, nope, I don't have a fucking clue what I'm doing. But I have so many things that I'm just like, there's so many things I want to do with this shit. So yeah, I want to talk about it. I'd rather not throw my voice against a wall. And I just want to spew. If this game never comes to fruition, it is what it is. But if it does come to fruition, it'll be at the expense of knowing that you all know what's coming. And I don't mind if you know what's coming. Because at this point, I'm just like, this has been in the years in the making. I don't care. I don't care if anyone has the same ideas. I don't care if anyone's like, ooh, I like this and takes. I don't care. I'm gonna make this game regardless of not. Because this has been haunting me. And nothing on this fucking planet can stop me from making it. Is this all for you? No. All for you is currently on the shelf, and it needs to stay on the shelf. But this one is a pure game. This is not a visual novel. This is not a kinetic novel. This is not a virtual novel. This is an actual interactive game. Of the sense that it's not a visual novel. So, allow me to, I just needed to start. I need people to be clear. I need to be clear with you all on that. And sorry, I'm also reaching over so I can open up this bottle of Sprite and suck it down for liquids for my throats. Okay. Okay. So, there's a lot of info here. Sorry. There's a lot of info here. Okay. Yeah. Guys, I wrote pages upon pages of info. Plus pages upon pages of a thing. Okay. So, hydration. Exactly. So, concept. It came into my mind when me and my sister and my mom were talking about it. Necromancer owns a farm, uses the undead to grow it. Okay, so you know, I like casual farming games, I like casual games, I like cozy games. The whole gambit, it's great and fun. But every farming game is kind of essentially the same. You buy your seeds, you grow your crops, you sell your crops, you go to the village, whatever. And so I'm like, okay, sure. That's a thing that's casual and comfy and doesn't require a lot of thought and whatever. That's a great cozy game. But what if you were a necromancer? That's a thought. What if you were a necromancer? So this was a baseline when I first started writing this thing. When I first started writing this, I was just like, okay, so you take over your parents' farm, you're using your minions and all that stuff. But of course, like, the holy powers that be don't fucking like you, and so they're gonna come and attack you, because they're assholes, because all holy folk are assholes. So, of course, the design aspects of this game, it's fully, like, it's farming. So it's gonna have, like, your spell components, which is, like, your nightshade, your, I have, like, purple hazel, devil's lettuce, like, shit like that. Then you have, like, your vegetables, which is, like, your carrots, potatoes, corns, whatever. And then, of course, you have your fruit trees and your bushes and, like, your apple trees, your orange trees, your raspberry bushes, whatever. And, of course, you have animals. So, of course, it's gonna have that farming sim aspect. But you're not gonna be the one actually doing the farming. You're gonna be managing your minions doing the farming. And so that's kind of like the twist. It's not a farming sim, it's a management sim where you're telling your minions to do the shit for you. So it's kind of like that. Of course, it's gonna be like extra shit like mining, logging, and dungeon crawling, because that's gonna add into town improvement, because there's gonna be a town involved in it, and of course there's productions. You can make like cloth, you can make like mayonnaise, you can make cheese, you can make all that shit, you can make all that crap, because of course it's got to be production stuff. It can't just be, oh, you sell milk and eggs and produce and stuff. No, you get to straight up, like, you can make shit, you can actually make shit, and so you can have your minions do that, your mayonnaise, exactly, your mayonnaise and all that shit. And of course, there's gonna be a town, because all, like, cozy games have a town that you have to, like, help out and improve and get your seeds from. And of course, the more you do in production on that, the more, like, it'll improve, like, better trade routes, economy, gratitude from the village. Yes, there's gonna be relationships with the villagers, which I have villagers, and you guys, again, you'll see why this has been fucking haunting me. So we have village and all that stuff. It's really, really cool. And of course, like, when you max out the town, it'll be really, really fun idea at the very end. I'll tell you what it is later. But of course, it's gonna be tower defense, because obviously the Holy Order does not like necromancers, and they don't want your zombie bullshit around. So either weekly or daily, depending on, I'm assuming, either a difficulty level or just because I'm fucking feeling masochistic or sadistic enough, there's gonna be weekly or daily attacks from either, like, mercenary adventurers or the Holy Order or shit like that. And so once while you're gonna have to, like, prep your farm and your minions, which are all zombies, mind you, to defend your farm. So yeah, you're gonna have traps, you're gonna have minion defenses. It's gonna be cool. You can get upgrades from the town, like there's a blacksmith in town who can give you upgrades, shit like that. So I don't think I want to go beyond that, on the pure basis of this is already a lot, and I can tell that this is already a lot as for a singular dev, because I am doing this by myself. I am doing this a little old me, but this is a lot. How much sleep have I skipped for this game? Oh, throughout the 8 years this has haunted me, you don't want to know. But it's one of those things where I've been trying to simplify this or make this as understandable as possible, that I can do this by myself or with as little help as possible, because the last thing I want to do is, like, I'm gonna need help, but I have no money to hire help, and so I can't do this game. I'm trying to make it so that way it's feasible for me to do this game. I would love to straight up do this game, but if I don't have the money to make this game, it's gonna be, like, fully, like, on my ass to try to figure out how to program it, how to make it work, etc., etc. Now, in terms of the farming aspect, I've already thought of that too. So, of course, again, this is dumbing down to what myself, one singular dev, could develop and think about in terms of all of this. I thought of 10 different spell components that I could possibly do. I've already divided it out into seed price, so when you go into town, how much the seeds are going to cost, the sale revenue from, like, growing the seed and selling the harvest and all that stuff, how long it takes to harvest, and what the level requirement is, because they're going to be levels. You have to be a certain level in order to access, like, certain spell components and all that stuff, and all that crap and all that. And so I've thought of 10, because you know what, max level 20. D&D rules make level 20 your max. So of course you have, like, Nightshade, Belladonna, Mandrakes, Rapunzel, which is kind of like, it's gonna be like, it's not like actual Rapunzel, but it's gonna be like the way I designed it in my head. Again, this has haunted me. It's like a wheat stalk. It's a little bit like a wheat stalk where the wheat, like the flowery stem, is like a braid, and so it looks like that. The cat's claw, it's kind of like a cat o' nine tails-ish, but it looks like a cat's claw. Purple hazel, truffle fluffle, newt's eye, albatross moss, and of course devil's cabbage, because I want to have a marijuana joke in the game, and there's my marijuana joke. Because I want a marijuana joke in the game. So yeah, those are the spell components, which will be like sold to an NPC later specifically. Then of course you have your normal average human shit, which is your fruits and veg. You have your lettuce, potato, onion, tomato, carrot, cucumber, pepper, corn, celery, and eggplant. And I actually did my research to see what is actually the most difficult. What is actually the most difficult to cultivate as a farmer. And this is the list from easiest to hardest that I could essentially figure out from my research. Again, it's based off of level requirements. You first start off with spell components because, of course, you start off as a necromancer. But, of course, you want to be, like, a farmer. So you, of course, have access to these fruits and veg higher level. And, of course, like, the tomato and the pepper and the corn will have multiple per harvest. So that's why, while their sale revenue is smaller, you actually get multiple per harvest. So instead of, like, oh, it's 20, but you have to pay 55, you actually multiply that. So you get around 80 gold for a full sale of pepper and all that stuff. Am I confusing anyone yet? Am I scaring anyone yet? I don't know if I'm very scary when I get like this hyper obsessed. I've been known to scare people. So genuinely I want to know if I'm scaring anyone. Okay. Will the vegetables be alive or just the undead? Just the undead. I kind of want it to be... It'll make sense when I explain the necromancer and all that stuff. I'll explain. I promise I'll explain. And then, of course, there's going to be 6 fruits and bushes, which will base on every 3 levels. So you have your apple tree, your blueberry bush, your orange tree, your strawberry bush, your cherry... It's like tree, bush, tree, bush, tree, bush. It's cool. And so, like, they'll take up... They won't have to take up a plot spot. But they'll just grow naturally. You don't have to have a zombie working on the tree or all that shit. But of course, like, it's gonna be a mega high price because once you plant the tree, it's not like the tree dies after the harvest. The tree is always gonna be there. It's just gonna constantly make fucking apples or blueberries and shit. So of course it's gonna be a high price, but you're gonna get a constant harvest. You're gonna get a genuine, like, weekly harvest of this stuff. But of course the level cap is based off of your level and all that shit. One of the hardest to make? I don't know! Again! Okay. The hyper focus is just, like, on me right now. But this game has haunted me for 8 years. This game has haunted my dreams. When I'm not dreaming or having nightmares or dreaming of my family or dreaming of, like, my book and all that stuff, it's been this fucking game. It's been this game, and it's been non-stop, and it's been terrifying. So eventually, like, because this year, 2024, I'm moving to a new place. I'm figured, fuck it. I'm gonna try my best to see what the hell I could do. Let's see what the hell I could do. Let's see what the fuck I can do to make this actually a thing. Because I've always wanted to actually make a game that's not a visual novel. I love visual novels. I grew up with visual novels. I love visual novels. But my brain just like, what if you made a not visual novel? What if you tried something different? Try something new. And so I don't know how difficult this is in the retrospect of, like, making a first-person shooter or an adventure game or a puzzle game. I don't know how difficult it is. I just want to make a thing. And so if I can make a thing, then my brain will be happy. So there you go. Question for the story. I will get to the story in a moment. Just let me get through this math shit. Because, guys, you don't understand. I spent a good week trying to figure out math for this fucking thing. Like, math for the economy, it's still not perfect. I'm pretty sure the math for the economy won't be finished until the game's actually programmed in and play tested and shit. It's like, yeah, it's so ridiculous. You have to have, like, a fucking business degree in economy in order to fucking figure out proper, like, balance for math. So I just kind of guesstimated and threw numbers in and pretended to know what the fuck I'm doing. So then, of course, now here's the difference that I want to make with my game. instead of just like, oh, you know, like in Stardew Valley or in Coral Island, like it's just kind of like, oh, you have an animal and they produce stuff, but you can't kill them because killing animals is wrong. No, I legitimately want butchery in the game, because I figure if we're already dealing with the undead, if we're dealing with necromancy, if we're dealing with darkness, if we're dealing with all of this stuff, then why the fuck would there not be butchery? So of course, I've decided to add butchery. Nightbot, don't ignore Nightbot in terms of spoilers and backseating. Ignore it. Like, I just have it on for when I play games. But I figured adding butchery to the animal production, so it's like, if you don't want to sell fucking eggs and feathers and wool and milk anymore, and he's the guy with the conspiracy board of this game idea. Pretty much! Thank you for the 5. But pretty much! But yeah, I wanted to add butchery, so that way you can sell things to the hamlet, which I will talk about later. But of course, like, you'll get daily produce, it'll be a harvestable thing, but of course, there will be butchery, so that way you can sell, the chicken and all that stuff, the lamb shank, the cow, and eventually I want to add, like, a pig and all that stuff. I want more, again, this is bare bone basics shit. I don't have a full list yet. I gotta think of a full list, but I gotta make sure it's small, because I can manage it. If my brain can't manage it, it's not happening. So, thinking about all that and thinking about, yeah, so we have animal taking care of, and of course your zombies will be able to take care of your animals. It's not like you have to go and feed your animals and take care of them and milk them, and no, you have zombies to do that. You have zombies who will do that for you. It's a management sim, not necessarily a farming sim. So, and then of course there's gonna be machines. So of course there's going to be machines for making mayonnaise and fruit jams and butters and cheeses and all that stuff. And of course, with your spell components, you can make potions that you can sell to an NPC in the town. And it's really cool. It's like you can make a health potion, a mana potion, dark venom. I made like a bunch of random shit. I threw random ingredients together, like, okay, this could make something stunning. This could make a charm, tonic a dream, tonic an invisibility drop, and blah, 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 blah. Just threw that shit together, be like, okay, sure, whatever. Again, this is just a simple list. I could easily change this one way or another, but if you just throw these things into a cauldron, let it stew, and then you'll have potions, and of course you'll make 3 potions per batch, and you can just sell that, and it's really great. And of course, it's a really great idea, down the line. Again, I'm trying to think of the scope of what potentially you could do in this game that would be entertaining, that's not just, oh, it's a farming sim with zombies. It's like, no, you can do potion making, you can do butchery, you can do all of that stuff, and blah, 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 blah. Butchery, what about, what is that? What? What is that? I have no idea what that is, Charlotte. Educate me, please. Just got here, could you do a quick recap? Management sim / tower defense? You're a necromancer who has zombies. And your zombies are the ones doing all the farming for you. So it's basically, that's why it's a management sim, not a farming sim. Okay. Now, of course, you have your worker zombies. So, of course, each zombie kind of comes around. You can eventually down the line when you're level, you can summon them as needed. Yeah, natural sense of progression, like upgrading. Like a natural sense. But of course, like level 1, you can summon your zombies because you can just summon your zombies, and they'll have an HP, an armor, and a damage situation. So your HP, how long they live, armor, how much they can take damage, how much damage they deal when there's a tower defense sequence, and of course basic. So then of course your skeleton's a little stronger, just a tiny bit stronger. Golems, which is like your big tanky boys, those would be like your big defensive tools, but they don't do much damage. They're just there for big tanky tank. Wraiths, they're glass cannons. They do high damage, but they get pulverized very easily. Hounds, they're tough attackers. At your level 10, they will be really good for defense. Mummies, they are good for 3 revives, so that's why they're average. They die, but they can come back up 3 times before they fully go down. And of course, shadows they nickel and dime things. So their armor is extremely high, but their damage is extremely low. So they nickel and dime as much as they can, of the enemies that come in. Can they do all the farming? Yes! Basically, your worker types, these minions, will do the farming for you. So if you can imagine this in your mind's eye, you have a farm at the top of the screen, but of course, if you scroll down the screen to the bottom, like if you, scroll wheel down, maybe a good couple scroll wheels down to the bottom, there's the gate of your farm, the front gate of your farm, where the attackers will come in. So of course your workers become your attackers and your defenders, and they're the ones who leave their posts to go attack your attackers. So that's why there's the tower defense. So not only are they doing the farming shit, they're doing the defending shit. So yeah, double whammy right there. Zombies are farmers as well as zombies are zombies, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? In a way? So that's why it's important to have as much farming as possible, so you have as many workers as possible, so you have as much defense as possible. See? See? Do you understand why this has been haunting me now? It makes sense in my head. It makes sense in my small little pea brain head. Yeah, your action farm is gonna be the back quarter of the... Yeah, it's kind of like when you're... It's kind of like those pictures where, like, you're driving towards the farmhouse, but there's, like, a shit ton of cornfields and farmland between the front gate of the gate and then the actual farm. So it's like those pictures where, like, the farmhouse is all the way in the fucking back, whereas, like, it's the same motherfucking farmhouse that's like, hey, you're gonna stick your eyes in there, there's gonna be a big puff of air, pff, right in your eye. It's kind of like that fucking thing. Mythical with the 2 undead workers. You picked the wrong house, fool! Exactly! I want to kind of be like that! I want to kind of like that! So the zombies die in the tower defense portion, so you have to rebuild them for me. Yes! So that's the drawback, whereas, like, if your zombie dies, you're gonna have to remake a zombie, so that way you have someone who can work on your field and all that shit. So yeah, things like that. And of course you can assign zombies to either, like, your lettuce and like your produce fields, your spell component field, your animal farm, your animal barn, and all that stuff. You can assign them wherever you want, and so again, management. Basically, you are the manager of all of this stuff, and I'll explain why once we get to like the actual story bit of this whole thing. This is all the technical shit. This is all the mathematics and the whole gears and winding whistles and bullshit like that. Do your animals have an actual... I'm thinking about giving them a lifespan. So that way, like, your zombies kind of know, like, oh, they're getting old, they're limping all over the place. Time to cut them down, clock, and you just clock them down. But I don't know if that's right now on top of my list of trying to, like, figure out if that's possible, or if that's just too much work to add on top of it. Because I know there's going to be a day and night cycle, but it's just a matter of the longevity of an animal. How much is a longevity of an animal to make it worth purchasing the animal, getting the produce out of them, and not killing them, and not butchering them before their lifespan. So I gotta think about that math. Now, of course, with all your worker types, you have upgrades. And all that. We love this, but the game be accessible with voiceover talk, back, still blind, low vision. I would love to. Again, when I want to make these games, I want to make them as accessible as possible. So yes, I want voice acting. Yes, I want to be able to make it accessible for players. And it's not like I want this to be a difficult game. I want this to be something fun and chewable by anyone. So yeah, but again, that's down the line of like further down into development. This is right now the bare bones behind the scenes, cogs and wheels behind. Of course, there's worker upgrades. There's a character named the Demon who is in the village nearby. And of course, you can upgrade your zombies like with wood armor, wood weapons, iron armor, and magical shit. Of course, again, basic bare bone crap. Bare bone crap that I could manage mentally on my own right now. Yeah. But of course, it's not just the workers that you have. You also have some field traps. You can put some caltrops, some spike barricades. You can magically have some cursed thorns in there, an eldritch barrier. Why did I spell barrier wrong? I have no idea. You can have some dark trees, like the Wizard of Oz style. Or you can have hungry soil, which will like insta-kill 5 people before the soil gets not hungry anymore. Things like that. So just, again, throwing ideas at a wall and praying that it works in that way. Just praying. It really does sound like a Gen XP game. Let's see. Would there be like an upgrading house thing to make them stronger, level them up? Eventually down the line, maybe. I'm not necessarily sure, because my thoughts are just more about minion management rather than like upgrading what you got. I mean, I could. But again, this is me just throwing my dreams at a wall and praying that they stick right now. And that's why, again, I want to talk about it. I want to be able to talk about shit like that. So yeah. Why would you spell something wrong? Aren't you a rat? I'm stupid. Again, I have the brain small of a peanut. Small of a peanut. You can see where my brain's going. Brain, small, peanut size. There we go. And of course, currency, gold. Something happened outside. But yeah, again, currency, gold. I want to keep it simple. If I do want to have like a lore-based type of thing, if I want to have a lore-based type of currency, I can think about a name later. But right now, my brain just goes gold. Think gold. All right, so sure, gold. It's a commonplace. Everyone thinks about it. Whatever. It's just your mouth not catching up with your thoughts. Money, exactly, money. All right. Now we get to talk about the characters. Okay. Let me explain these characters first before we get to story. I wanted to talk to you about the characters first. And here's the thing. I have like ideas of what I want the characters to look like, but literally I just did a Google search on just inspirational images. These are not like, this is what I want. This is just kind of like, oh, it's kind of the idea. They're not the actual, oh, I want like this. Like, because I don't have my sketch pad, because I don't have my drawing tablet. I packed that shit up because I'm moving. So I don't have my drawing tablet. So I just literally threw I threw a Google search, clicked Google Images, and just threw them into a thing. So, let me explain where is it? A thing. Okay. Okay. Let me explain to you a thing. So, the necromancer. Of course, necromancer, main character. So, this is the PC, this is you, essentially. You are the middle sibling who decided to leave the family farm and pursue the dark arts. While your older brothers and sisters and your younger brothers and sisters wanted to pursue the holy order and be part of the holy shit, you decided, no, fuck that. I want to be a necromancer. I want to do dark shit. I want to do magical dark shit. So of course you left your home and decided to pursue the dark arts, and you managed to pursue the dark arts and become a lich. And so you become a necromancer lich, and you almost achieve evil godhood. Like, you are so close. You are the one villain that could have made it. You almost could have been a god. But of course the Holy Order is the Holy Order, because good always wins, because they're assholes. And so before you decide to get smited, before you're smited by the Holy Order, you basically just say, fuck it. You're like, fuck it. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna leave. Fuck this place. Fuck this land. Fuck all of you. I'm going home. Literally, you're just like, I'm going home. So you basically are like, I'm gonna set the body double in this epic castle that I made for myself. And they're gonna smite the evil, like the dreaded necromancer, and they think they're gonna win, but in reality, I'm going home. So basically, you abscond on home, full on lich, a little worn out because your entire army just got fucking wiped. Your entire your evil march just got wiped, and you're just like, I just want to vibe now. I'm going home. I'm coming home. I'm taking over the farm. I'm too tired for this shit. I'm too tired. So yeah, of course, I want the necromancer to be completely androgynous, as in, you could have been a boy, a girl, a they, them. You could have been whatever in your mortal life, but you threw that all the way for a skeleton body. You threw that all the way to be a lich. So you technically have no gender. I want the necromancer to fully be androgynous, so that no one gives a shit about what gender they are, and they don't have to give a shit about like all that shit. And it's like, I don't care. I am a former whatever. I am now a being of darkness. I am now a being of darkness. I would like to add pronoun choice if it's possible. But again, it's about like, I don't want people to be like, I have titties as a lich. Like, no, you don't. You're a skeleton. You have a hole in your genitalia. You don't have a working penis. You have nothing. You are a skeleton. Stop it. That's what I want. I want my necromancer to be completely androgynous. So yeah, there's that. But because of that, you look epic. You are literally a skeleton. It's kind of cool. You look badass. I want you to look badass. You'll refer to me as necromancer, and it's necromancer alone. Testicular torsion. I have none, bitch. But anyways, so yeah. Let me see. Okay, so we have, of course, Make sure it's still going. Okay. So we have the necromancer. Really awesome, really cool. Mom and Dad! So, of course, the farm that you're going back to is not yours. It is your family's farm. So, the problem is, your parents decided to support you instead of supporting your siblings. So, instead of them going to the Holy Order and being like the holy Southern folk that like people expect them to be, they actually are more supportive of you because they see you actually going for your dreams rather than burying yourself in a Bible. So, they're the ones who essentially kind of let you explore the dark arts, explore the darkness, and all that shit. But they get punished for it. So the Holy Order pretty much condemns their farm and executes them for supporting the dreaded necromancer. Yeah, so they're executed when you return back to the farm. Their bodies are literally laying up against the farm, with their heads in their laps, with a note saying, this place has been condemned by the Holy Order. Witness what happens when you defend darkness. So because of that, and because you know that they were the ones who supported you while you're still there, you pretty much revive them, but only their heads get revived in a way. So basically they're bouncing little skull heads. Sort of like Graveyard Keeper's, yeah, the Graveyard Keeper's character. So the little bouncing skull heads that they follow you around and they help you out. And they realize a couple of things about you when you come back. But of course, they're the supportive parents being like, you came back to help out with the farm. Fuck your siblings. Your siblings were lazy pieces of shit. So it's gonna be great. They're gonna be part of the tutorial because, of course, they're gonna be like, you can take care of the farm now because you're back. But of course, you're a skeleton who doesn't necessarily have muscles to be able to sow seeds and all that shit. So it's gonna be great. So yeah, it's kind of like that. I want their skulls to be very, very cute, but I want them to still be at least as realistic as possible. And you should be able to differentiate them, so that way you're not going up to Skeledad and being like, hey, Skelemom. It's like, oh shit, no, there's Skeledad, my bad. The person who betrays Farmer on American Gothic was great. Was it nice? But yeah, say to be or not to be, not again. So yeah, those are your parents, and they're gonna be helping you out. They're gonna be cool. No parents from Monkey Island sets. No. I want skeleton heads. And yes, Skelemom and Skeledad will have southern drawls. I want them to 100% be the southern farmers people think that they could be. But they're not the whole Bible thumping bullshit like people. They are like, oh, son, you wanna study the dark arts? Well, bless your heart, you go for it, and you follow your dreams and all that shit. There's those kind of parents. Okay. Now, remember when I said that your farm will be attacked randomly, like weekly and all that shit? The Holy Order is trying to expand their territory, to bring light to the entirety of the land. And of course, there are outskirts of like the dark forests and all that shit. And also your farmland, which has been like completely taken over by darkness. So they want to eventually come on in, swoop on in, salt the land, and like exorcise it and like make it part of the Holy Land. Because fuck darkness, that's why, in their eyes. But essentially, the ones who are assigned to get your farmland, to pretty much exercise your farmland, are your siblings. So yeah, you have 4 siblings, 2 younger, 2 older. So of course, we start out with your youngest sister. Your youngest sister, Kyra the Kind. So Kyra the Kind, your youngest sister, she's an acolyte of the church. She's still rising up in the ranks. She's like a nun. In essence, she's like a lower priestess sort of thing. She's still in training. Very innocent-minded, easily swayed about rumors of evil. She wants to prove herself to her older siblings that she is just as holy as they are, and she wants to remove the foul stench upon the farm that you left behind when you left. Not realizing that you were there. So of course, when she starts like coming up with all of her like acolytes and other adventurers trying to like exercise the land, when she gets fought back by zombies, she's like, what the hell? Why is there so many zombies here? And of course, I do want to be able to, like, when you kill and defeat your siblings, I want you to be able to revive them and have them be your servants. Yeah, I want that kind of revenge scenario, because there is a revenge scenario. This is a kind of a revenge scenario. You can 100% kill the siblings. If you spare them, they'll just run back to the Holy Order. But I don't know whether or not I want a mercy option, because this is sort of a revenge plot, if you would, in a kind of a way. I'll explain once we hit the lore. But yeah, that's Kyra the Kind. She's very much the very chivalrous, the very soft-spoken, sweet, nun-like character who just wants to believe in the good of all things, bless the Holy Order, and bullshit like that. So yeah, we have that. Then of course we have your next youngest sibling, Charles the Chivalrous. Again, once again, these are just ideas. These are not official art pieces. These are just, oh, I would like it if it was something similar like this. Charles the Chivalrous, he is a squire knight of the church. He's very feisty. He's very just like, yeah, let me at him and all that. He's like one of those kind of little brothers and all that shit. When his sister doesn't either return back from his, from her attack on the farm, he marches forward to try and prove himself as like, I could be a paladin just like my older sister and blah, 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 blah. So it's one of those things where he's just like this steadfast, feisty little shithead who's like trying to be more than he actually is. He has a big sword and he's just trying to compensate. And he because he is the youngest sibling, the youngest brother, he's just like, he tries his best. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, there's Charles the Chivalrous. Next we have Philemon, or Phil the Pious. He is your older brother. He is a high priest of the church. He has served the Holy Order for quite some time, longer than his younger siblings. And he found peace within that church and refuses to like think about his life on the farm, because he's like, my sins and the farm are completely abolished because I joined the Holy Order. He's one of those motherfuckers who believes that once he believes in God, he is completely absolved of all his sins. So of course, when his younger siblings don't arrive back to the Holy Order, he goes to the farm to kind of try to figure out what the hell's going on, and tries to, again, exercise the farm and all that stuff. And so you have to fight him eventually. And so, yeah, it's great like that. So yeah, he's very much the stronger brother. But then, of course, you have your eldest sister. Your eldest sister, Gemma the Godly. She is the High Paladin of the Holy Order. She has worked her way from the bottom up since joining the Holy Order. And she is like the top bad god bitch of the Holy Order. Like, she is the one who was about to smite you when you were the dreaded necromancer. She was the one who was meant to smite you. And so, like, she is completely forgotten about her life in the farm. She is fully involved in the church and just fully believes that is her purpose, that is her life, that is her destiny, is to be a weapon of godlyhood. So she's like this big holy figure, and she is the final boss of the tower defense mechanisms of the game. So yeah, she's beautiful as she is scary, and I want her to be that whole like big, massive, terrifying boss that it would be the hero of a story if it was the other way around. So yeah, so there's Gemma the Godly. Okay. Now, with this farm, with the necromancer, let me go ahead and go back to the necromancer really, really quick. With the necromancer, let me see. There's obviously going to be a game over for dying, but would there be a game over for being recruited by the Holy Order? You're a lich. There's no being recruited. You're a lich. They're going to smite you. They will 100% turn you and smite you. There is no going to the Holy Order. So no, there will be no mercy ending. There is going to be either we kill you or you will die. If they win. But yeah, speaking of the necromancer, the farm that you're on is kind of on the, if you could imagine the map of where everything is, you are right on the border of the Holy Land. You are on the border of this holy area that the Holy Order has control of. So your farm is like the border right there. And behind your farm, even farther back, is a forest. It's basically called the Dark Forest because it hasn't been conquered by the Holy Order yet. And inside of this forest is actually a small hamlet. And this hamlet has some monster beings and some essentially quote-unquote evil people who were chased out of the Holy Order and chased out of the Holy Land because they weren't seen as accepted by the Holy Order. They were not acceptable to be living amongst them and all that shit. You know, like religious bullshit. So there's a small village in the forest behind your town that you basically, that's your trading post. That is where you get your seeds. That is where you meet your villagers. That is where all of this stuff happens. You live in the outskirts, but you help this small hamlet of monsters and all that stuff. Will I be voicing Gemma? I don't know who I'm going to be voicing. I've got to figure that out. How many people asked Gemma to step up? I don't know. I don't know. If there is a mercy, it would imply that siblings died anyways because they failed at their task, leading to a secret final. Ooh, that'd be interesting. Yeah, that'd be really cool if you mercy them and there's an actual final boss. That'd be cool. I gotta think about that. But of course, this village, this small little hamlet of monster people, barely 20 villagers. Barely 20. And I actually have like thoughts and written out descriptions of them, but 5 of these villagers you'll be able to romance. The others are just purely living in this village because they were either chased out or they wanted to find peace or they're just there and that's their life. So there's 5 romance options. So of course we have the witch. The witch is going to be one of the first NPCs you meet. So this witch, I want her sexy. I want her to be very charming. I want her to be like mommy, milf, type of a vibe energy. She's a traveling merchant with a grin on her face, eye for profit. She knows what she's selling and she has the body to make sure she sells it. She knows her potions are the reason many heroes exist. So of course, because she's of neutral gazes, she can easily sell her potions to like the mercenaries or the Holy Order, and she can do all that stuff, but she can't live in the Holy Land because she is of the darker essence type of character. And of course, she wants to be able to grow up and be a trader and be a bigger trader, and be like make more potions and make a living just being a trader, if you would. So of course, when she meets you, the necromancer who has access to a large farmland, she's like, oh, sure, here's a couple of free seeds of like really nice nightshade and all that stuff. Let's you plant them and all that stuff. You go plant them and see what happens. And I want to see, like, I want to sell your stuff. I want to sell like your ingredients for you, and I'll give you the profit and all that stuff. But I want to be able to be the one to dole it out. Like, there's a big business between you and her. She's very charming, very sweet, and very intelligent. In her romance options, she wants to be able to go explore the world, but she knows the Holy Order is kind of getting in the way. But you, having had explored the world as, like, the dreaded necromancer, you and her have back and forth about, like, your adventures and your coming up as, like, the dreaded necromancer, and her kind of living precariously through those stories of, like, her wanting to see more of the world. So she has that wanderlust within her. She's more than just a charming face. She has those dreams of ambition. So yeah. We only have one character we play as other. You only play as a necromancer. Remember the Canadian $2. Stereotypical dominant witch mommy. In a way, yeah. So yeah, it's just kind of like that. So we have the witch. Next we have the werewolf. I don't have names for them just now. I don't have names. But guess you're not into fighting games? I mean, I can play fighting games. I'm not a big fan of them. But that's more my husband's thing, not mine. So the werewolf is actually the mayor of the nearby hamlet. He actually like runs the thing as like the governing mayor of the hamlet. He wants to protect the monsters who kind of like are forced out of the Holy Land. So he uses his hamlet to kind of like, hey, we're gonna protect you all and all that stuff. He is despite his big hunky figure, he is a very soft-spoken, very sweet gentleman. Gentleman first, hunky boy second. And so he does have a monstrous werewolf form. I want it to be monstrous, but I want his personality to definitely be more of the subdued type, because he wants to be a provider, not necessarily the monster that the Holy Order claims him to be. So him is going to be showing his more gentle side to you, whereas like the first couple of meetings you have with him, it's very sweet, like, welcome to the hamlet. I'm glad you were able to get settled into your farm. If there's anything we can do to help, let us know. He's a very gentleman type. But of course, he'll have those bouts of anger. Like, it's like, for example, if a adventuring group comes in, he'll be like the one. If his guards can't deal with it, then he's like, no, I'm right there. Like, ah, I got it. So he will be the one to easily step up and kind of like help defend his area if need be. So yeah, he has those two faces, but he wants to have his gentleman face more because he knows his angry, monstrous face is what drove him away from his home. So yeah, things like that. Will there be polyamorous? I would like this to be polyamorous. I would like you to be able to be polyamorous with these romance options. Yeah, I'm 100% serious. I want you to be able to romance all 5 if you want. But again, it's all based on what's coding availability and all that shit. I want to make sure everything is kosher. I want to make sure everything is completely, like, doable for one dev. If it's just me, can I do it? If I don't have to hire extra help, can I do it? Things like that. Would these romanceable characters, when we max out the rest, also act as towers? Potentially, I'm thinking so. Like, I would like to be able to have them, like, if you can call on them for help, they can help with the tower defense. Things like that. Yeah, he's kind of like an Asgore type of character, where he's like, he's a gentle giant who wants to be able to protect what he needs to. Oh my god, holy shit, I didn't think about that. No, yeah, straight up, he's like an Asgore character. I did not think about that. Holy shit. But yeah. So, there you go. Next, we have the Shapeshifter. I wanted to be able to... It's kind of like a changeling in D&D terms. So, basically, the Shapeshifter is able to transform into a human state. They basically are the ones able to have trade with the Holy Order in order to provide for their hamlet. Because, of course, the hamlet needs to be able to survive. So, in order for them to survive, they need to have some sort of trade, import-export. And they're kind of like the face of like, hey, we're not monsters. It's okay. You could trust us. Here, buy our stock, buy our furniture, buy our silks, buy all of our stuff. And so the changeling, the shapeshifter is the one to be able to kind of like be that face, if you would. Where they can go into the Holy Order's land and be like, hey, it's fine. It's all good. I'm just here with some really cool stuff that you could buy. They're the ones who are going to buy like your produce, your animal products, etc., etc. Things like that. They are the less charismatic one compared to the witch, but they have a better eye for business, and they're a little more straight-laced and straightforward, because they want to be able to provide for the hamlet, and knowing that they can shapeshift, they'll do what they need to be able to make that trade and to be able to bring home export and bring home the ability for the hamlet to survive, things like that. So that's Shapeshifter. They're a little more cold and straight-laced when you meet them. But of course they see that you plant like lettuce and potatoes and things that they could sell. And like, okay, sure, we'll expand business that way. Like that. So yeah, that's the Shapeshifter. Now this, I wonder how many will start barking when I show the vampire. So next romance option is the vampire. Yes, I'm going with the vampire mommy. A lot of mommy characters. Don't ask me why. So the vampire is actually the sheriff, basically the kind of like the head guard of the hamlet, the head vampire, like the head defense, if you would. Like they're the night captain of like this hamlet area. She has built herself fully muscular to be able to do what she needs to do, but she is very soft-spoken. Not to like being like gentle, but she's just quiet. She doesn't like speaking. She's a quiet type. She doesn't like speaking too much. She doesn't like showing off. She doesn't give a shit how she looks. She's one of those characters that straight up just is like, I'm doing my job. I need to protect what I need to do. I need to protect this hamlet. Let me do my job. They're they're the more concentrated, calm force where they don't give a shit about the charisma. They don't give a shit about like trying to be that seductive vampire type. They're like, no, I have abilities to protect this hamlet. I'm going to protect this hamlet. And so that's that is her presence there, that she wants to straight up be the best protector of the hamlet that she could. And she finds that the hamlet is part of her territory, if you would. So that's why she wants to be able to do all that. That's why I thought Striga first thing. But of course, I wanted to be muscle mommy. I wanted to be like, while the witch is like the seductive, like Jessica Rabbit, like, hey, how you doing type of vibes, this vampire is like, she has the mommy energy, but she doesn't use the mommy energy. She uses the I'm gonna protect my home energy. So she has unintentional mommy energy, if you would. So yeah. And the last romance option that I want to have in mind is the demon. So the demon is the blacksmith. He is the blacksmith of the hamlet. He's the one who works with all of the ore and the wood and all that stuff that the Mole Man and the druid, who are two different characters, will come up later. They are the ones who make all of the export that could be sold via the shapeling. By the shapeshifter. Not shapeling, that's changeling and shapeshifter together. But yeah, he's very fun, he's very chill, he's like laid back, because he already works so hard in front of the anvil and the forge. He doesn't need to be serious. So he's just like, he takes life as it is, as it comes. And so it's just one of those things where he just wants to vibe. And so when you come around, he wants to be able to help you expand your farm. So he's the one you go to like expand your farm and all that stuff. I don't see my husband in chat. I do not see my husband in chat. Canadian $2. Never mind. I want that one in the world. But yeah, he spent his many years working at the forge. He actually lived here. He didn't get chased off from the Holy Land. He lived in the forest for a long while, alongside the Mole Man and the druid. So he's just kind of helping out the hamlets kind of like expand and stay alive and survive. So yeah, he's that big like, hey dude, how you going? Like, you got some ore there? I can make up something, like I can make some swords, I can make some fences for you and all that shit. He's kind of like that kind of vibe, if you would. So yeah. Those are the 5 romances. They're really, really cool. So we have the very sultry witch, we have the werewolf, gentleman werewolf, we have the straight-laced shapeshifter, we have the stoic vampire, and we have the chill demon. Mythical drawer, does the vampire have a gun? No, this is purely fantastical. I haven't thought about artificers yet or anything like that. So it'd be purely like bows and arrows, things like that. But let me see. So those are the romance option. No skeletons. Skeletons work for you. Skeletons work for you. They're part of the minions. Now, the non-romanceable options, and I don't want to hear complaints. I already have 5 romances. I am one developer. If I'm to develop this game by myself from my own back, then I need to think small first. I can't think big. I cannot think big right now. I want to think big later. If I can think big later, I want to think small now. So let me think small. So first, the Mole Man. So yeah, of course, outside of farming and all that stuff, you'll have the ability to be hired by the Mole Man. To basically, he'll try and hire out some of your zombies for a fee. So they can protect him while going into the mines. So he goes in the mines, he gets ore, he gets like a bunch of the rocks and all that stuff, salts. Yeah, he's like, I want him to have the Rossetti energy, where he's just kind of like, hey friend, I'm just here to come like try to buy up some of your zombies and all that stuff so they can protect me in the mountains nearby here. Don't ask questions, I just need them for protection. I'll pay you, and if I don't come back with your zombies, I'll pay you extra if they die, okay? Things like that, okay? Deal. So kind of like that. I want him to be the one to go into the mountains to get like the ores, the salts, the rocks, things like that. Monster elements, because there are monsters in the mountains all the time. So yeah, he is the one who, if you send off some zombies, they can bring back some of his stuff because he'll share his wealth with you. Things like that. Then of course we have the druid. Druid, who has been living in the forest since they were born, essentially. Ran with the Canadian 5. Is the game a visual novel type game with multiple endings? No, this is I want this to be a management sim / tower defense. So this is like, you, again, from the beginning, you are a necromancer trying to live out your normal life, but of course you hit the fan. So of course the druid, who's been living there for a long while, they're the ones who kind of, essentially, they speak for the trees. They want to help the hamlet, and they want to help protect it because they know how much the Holy Order sucks. But of course, they have to preserve the wildlife. So when they hire on your zombies and all that stuff, they're like, we need help with logging. We need to make sure that the seeds are replanted. We need to make sure that the forest is rejuvenated and all that stuff. And sometimes they'll ask for like some zombies for fertilization purposes. So they can fertilize the trees to help them regrow in the tree forest. So yeah, they're the ones who provide the wood, the logging, things like that. All of that shenanigans. So I'm not sure whether or not I want the druid to be male or female. I just kind of threw both because I'm like, I'll determine that later. They're right now not the front part of my brain. Yeah, sorry. Oh, itchy nose. Oh, am I scaring anyone yet? Pardon. Will there be platonic relationship options? Yes. I don't want to force romance, so you can choose to romance or not, and there won't be that if you choose not to romance, and there won't be that, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you liked me bullshit. I don't like that. I don't like that, I'm sorry you don't like me bullshit. If you don't want to start a romance with them, they'll just be like, yeah, it's cool, we can be friends. Straight up, we can be friends. Let's see, does our necromancer have moments of hammy supervillainy? Yes, and that'll come later. So we have the druid. Next is the armor. The armor essentially is an armored suit that never got unanimated by the caster. Basically, if you don't know what an animated armor is, it's essentially basically a sorcerer going to a suit of armor and going move, and like it starts moving like an actual human being. But of course, this armor has a soul in it. We don't know whose soul in it. So because the sorcerer never unanimated them, they were pretty much cast out of the Holy Order. They ran from the Holy Order before being exorcised. And so they just kind of hobble around with just their soul. And think like Al from Full Metal Alchemist a little bit. So their mind is not necessarily like a child's, but it's more so like they think single-mindedly. They think very single-mindedly. So they work as one of the vampire's patrolmen. So there's multiple patrolmen who kind of help out the vampire. The armor is one of them. So yeah, like they don't necessarily think, they don't necessarily have a personality other than being single-minded. So things like that. What kind of passes does necromancer have? I'll get to that once I'm done with the characters. So we have that. Yeah, I love him. Then of course we have the Nyakin family. The Nyakin family, which I've labeled for cat girl. Or cat person family. It's a cat person family consisting of a cat girl and her 3 children. She has 3 children. And basically their father died protecting them from the Holy Order. So while the Holy Order was chasing them all out, the father pretty much was like the one line of defense because they were just pretty much smiting everyone. So the cat girl and her 3 children ran into the forest while the father got unfortunately executed. So they live in the hamlet. Single mom, 3 kids. So there's the mom, the firstborn, the middle child, and the youngest. And so the mom works in the town market. So like, while there's export and imports, she's the one who kind of helps like divide out and sell like the products there to each other. Because of course you have to have an in-town working economy. It's not like a massive like trade system where everything's for free. And then the children actually work in their house. So they all have houses. And so the 3 children take care of the house, if you will. And yes, you can be friends with all of the characters, even the children, because the children will look at you like, ooh, big skeleton. And they'll have like 1, while the adults will have like 3 quests to be their friend. The kids will be like, wow, you're a skeleton person. That's so cool. Things like that. You know, Blacksmith, yes, here's my cousin Lamau. So yeah, there's the Nyakin family. Mom kind of still dealing with the trauma of losing the love of her life, while her kids are kind of like trying to step up and be there for their mom. So it's kind of those scenarios where it's just like, mom wants to try and make sure she takes care of them as the proper parents, but has to deal with her trauma, while the kids are like, we understand that you have trauma, please let us help you. Things like that. So that's kind of their storyline. All right. Then we Uncle Skelly. Then we have the Goliath. Yes, we have a Goliath. He is a strong man who is way too scary to let remain in the Holy Order's lands. So of course he was cast out because he was a big, strong, beefy man who wouldn't submit to the Holy Order. He actually works with the demon in heavy lifting. So while the demon has all this big metal and ore shit, he's the heavy lifter and he lifts all the stuff and puts it over things. We'll collect the materials. And he's the one who actually comes to your farm and collects the materials that you leave in your bin. Because of course there's going to be a selling bin that you have at your farm. He's the one who's going to like take the bin, empty it out, and carry all the shit back to the village as needed. So yeah, he's a big single to double word beefy boy. Where he speaks very few words, but there's a lot of things going on in his brain. So yeah, he is a big Goliath. We love him. We appreciate him. Is my nose bleeding? I pray not. Never mind. Okay, good. I thought my nose was bleeding. So yeah, things like that. He's like, hubba hubba. But yeah, he's very sweet, and the children absolutely love him. And in my dreams, the children like kind of climb up on his shoulders and kind of like walk while he walks around. They kind of like it's like, wow, they're like a mountain tall. They're climbing a mountain. It's really cute. It's a really cute thing. Would any of the romance options have kids? I don't know. I genuinely don't know right now. I'm still kind of developing these characters as maybe. Then of course we have the haunted family, which consists of a father and son. Basically, this father and son duo, their wife practiced really dark magic, and of course they were put to blame for the mom's wife's deeds, and so they were chased out. But all they wanted to do was just to live in peace. So they find the hamlet and they try and find some normalcy within the hamlet. And they're both jobless as of right now because they're kind of still trying to figure out what the hell to do. Because they don't necessarily... It's not betrayal where they feel like their wife betrayed them. It's more of just the fact that the mom made choices and they're the ones punished for it. So it's like they don't know how to kind of deal with that situation. So yeah, I kind of definitely took the ideas from like Noctis and his dad, Clive and his dad sort of ideal, where it's like, it's that kind of dynamic father and son, where the father would do anything to protect his son, and the son is trying to figure out like who he is and how to protect his dad. Things like that. Things like that. And yeah, part of the mission will kind of be giving them a purpose, like while they live in the hamlet. They can't just like live in the hamlet for free. They have to kind of help out. So your mission with them will be trying to kind of help them, guide them through like how to live in this hamlet. Then we have the Clocken family. The Clocken family is bear people. Of a father, mother, and child. Yes, I thought of the Goldilocks and the Three Bears 100% in my head. They could not stand the Holy Order invading basically their part of their world. So they abandoned their home and left to join the hamlet. Because that's the only safe place for monsters at that time. So the father works as one of the patrolmen with the vampire, so he works as one of the guards. The mom works with the Nyakin mother in the town square, like as the market for people. And the child, of course, attends to the house. There is no Goldilocks. No Goldilocks in this story. But the father, mother, and child, where father helps as one of the patrolmen, one of the guards. The mom works as the town square people with the Nyakin mother. And, of course, the child attends the house. Father is very much like stern upbringing, like, I'm protecting my family. Huh! Mom is very sweet, very caring, like Mama Bear. And of course, child's very adventurous and doesn't necessarily understand why they had to leave their home, but takes care of their new home regardless, because it's a new home. It's what their mommy and daddy wanted. So this is their home and they're going to have to try and figure it out. And I think the last one is my personal favorite. I will admit, these last two characters are my personal favorite. Simply because for some reason, they just stand out to me and I love it. They're called the Flame Moth family. So obviously, Mothman. Basically the Flame Moth family is a couple consisting of a Mothman and a Flame Elemental. So their love is considered forbidden by the respective clans. Like the Mothman, basically was banished from his Moth clan, and so was the Flame Elemental from her Elemental clan. But they were deeply in love with each other. My nose is still itchy. I hate this so fucking much. And so they decided, no, fuck it, we're in love. We're gonna be together. And so they ran away. Even before the whole Holy Order shit, they had nothing to do with the Holy Order shit. They left their clans and essentially escaped into the hamlet to live out their happy life together as much as they can. Of course, the problem is with their love, they cannot touch. because she is literally a flame elemental, and he is a Mothman. There's no need to feel down. I said, Mothman, grab that gal off the ground. But yeah, so they love each other, but they cannot touch, and that's the problem with their relationship that you have to kind of help figure out with their relationship. So Mothman works as the werewolf's assistant. Basically, he's like, the werewolf is the mayor, the Mothman is the secretary, doing all of the shit. And the flame elemental helps the demon with his blacksmithing, obviously being a source of flame for his forge and all that stuff. So she works with him. And so the thing with them is that Mothman wants to be able to eventually touch the flame elemental, but is unsure how. And because of this, he also has very much a lot of self-doubt and has like, I don't know if I'm good enough for her. And so it's that mission is kind of helping the Mothman kind of realize, like, no, you are enough. Like, she chose you. She left her village for you. And her, it's like, I want to be able to touch him. Can you brew something? Can you brew a potion, a special potion, so I can touch him? And that's why this small picture right in the corner right here, this one right here, is essentially the end goal. The potion that you create with your friendship gives her a human form to which they can finally hold hands. So yeah, that's the end of their quest line, where they be able to finally touch and be together. So yeah, that again, Flame Moth family, my personal favorite. Because that's a forbidden love that I definitely wanted to try and break 100%. But yeah, so yeah, there's also the relationship quest lines I'm still working through. I have some funny quotes and all that shit. Baby fire moth, that'd be so cute. But of course. So here's the dealio. I want this to be a revenge redemption story, if that makes any sense at all. This is a revenge redemption story because this story is about how you failed to take over the world, but you were given the chance to take over the world regardless. Things like that. So let me pause the music real quick, because this is where I need to get like the epic dark fantasy music out. I need this to like 100% make sense. So yeah, I'm like 100% like, so yeah, perfect. So it's like good. Okay. So this is a revenge story in a way. This is a revenge and redemption story. Imagine, if you would, when you start up the game. You start up the game, the menu, main menu, whatever. You press new game. You're about to go into the game, you press new game, and it first shows a black screen with some fantasy text. Hopefully. You, the middle child of a humble farm family, were always intrigued by the dark arts. Something about the shadows interested you, while your older and younger siblings bent their heads to the Holy Order's teachings. Your only supporters, your parents, encouraged your curiosity and gave you the motivation to explore the depths of darkness. While your naive siblings studied the ways of the light, you poured yourself into necromancy without abandon. When your siblings tried to drag you out, you only sunk further. Attempts of reason became abuses and insult. Your siblings began to burn your books, isolate you from food, and tried to break you into obedience. Your parents could not protect you. They could barely manage the farm. With the house drenched in the damned teachings of the Holy Order, you had no choice but to abandon your home. Bidding your parents goodbye, you sought out a better environment for your dark growth. It was nightmarish. Many sleepless nights, with an empty belly, would torture anyone to return to their safe havens, but you refused. You could not return to the hymns of goodness surrounding that farm. Nothing was worth that, not even death. As you were about to embrace eternal slumber, a dark figure approaches you and offers you the chance to finally achieve your goal. A contract. Your soul for your deepest desire. Then, of course, on screen, you'll see a contract kind of lean forward. And on the bottom, there's a line with a feather pen with the quill. And, of course, this is where you sign your name. You can sign your name however you want on the contract. And that's how you kind of get your name as a necromancer. And, of course, once you sign it, it flips up and disappears. With it signed, you were blessed with knowledge beyond the paltry books you barely afforded. Your mind weaved into the night and sang its deadly melody. Upon your command, you earned the right to summon the dead and command the darkness to your bidding. Finally, your dream could be realized. The pain of the light would be snuffed out at last by your hands. Slowly but surely, you grew your forces and strengthened your powers. Hamlets and small towns fell to your overwhelming presence, and you only gained with each shivering expression beneath. Ambition became obsession. Your desire to wipe out the Holy Order became your singular goal. It required more power, more undead, more sacrifice. But you knew the weakness of mortality. You could not fight such a large cult. At least, not in your mortal. You had to ascend beyond living. Your life had to end for your war march to begin. But your soul was not your own. You could not march without it. You confronted your patron, demanding your soul, only to be met with a laugh. A laugh that only reminded you of the home you escaped from. A laugh that reminded you of the abuses and tortures your siblings wreaked upon you. A laugh that was the last your patron released into the air. You had grown powerful enough to break your patron's soul and body, reclaiming your own. As a last act of commitment to the darkness, you surrendered your mortal body and cast your soul into the weave. You had become a true necromancer, living dead. Your powers increased tenfold, and soon you became a force of fear in the land. Your army marched, your darkness spread, and you were ready to fight. And fight you did. It didn't stop. But the Holy Order met your every step. You were so close. The blind adventurers dwindled what the Order could not. The masses still bent to light for one reason or another. Your influence weakened slowly over time. Your reign shriveled with each fallen soldier. And you could do not but watch as the Holy Order wiped out the last of your undead army. This could not be. You had sacrificed everything. You worked so hard to bring it down. You... Forget it. What? I'm done. I'm tired. I want to go home. What do you mean? This is where the Holy Order comes to smite me? The Holy Order comes and just completely banishes me? Screw that. I'm gonna go home, kick out my siblings, and just live on the farm. Smiting is not happening today, or any day for that matter. So your job is done. Take your paycheck and get out of here. But how? It's not that hard to make a body double for the Holy Order to smite in my place. What do you take me for, an amateur? They cheered and celebrated the death of the dreaded necromancer, while I scuttled off in the shadows, back to my farm. There. Problem solved. Easy. Now leave! Finally. Alright. Time to trek back home. So yeah, that's the intro of the game that I had in mind. If you would have believed that. What do you guys think? So that kind of, I want to give that feel where it's like, it totally could have been serious, but it's not. But yeah, so there's the intro of the game that I had in mind, where it's like, it started off with you actually almost reaching your godlyhood, but when you're about to get smited by the heroes, you're like, nope, fuck that, fuck this, fuck you, I'm gone, goodbye. But yeah. So Of course, there's going to be some serious moments. Like, obviously, a lot of the relationship options are going to have serious moments. But it's fully going to be very lighthearted, more so, because we already have the serious moments when the Holy Order comes to try and smite your entire farm. We already have those serious moments. So I want to be frugal with the happy moments. Well, I want to be frugal with the darkness moments, and I want to have a lot of happy comedy, if you will. Where it's like anyone could play and have a fun time. But there is a story. One that kind of brings in. And here's the thing. A lot of my thoughts went to, okay, this is a farming sim, management sim, tower defense, sure, whatever. What's going to bring non-cozy gamers into the game? I thought long and hard about what potentially could bring players into the game. And my brain just went, I need a goal. I need an end game. Because a lot of gamers out there, they don't give a shit about like the endless cycles of farming games. They don't give a shit about like having 4-year, 5-year, 6-year farms. They don't give a shit. They want to have a goal that they can reach. And sure, the goal could be defeating your siblings of the Holy Order, but then you go ahead and have your 5-6 year long farms. That's not an end goal. So I want there to be an end goal. That's an option for players to not have to trudge through like, oh, I'm feeling that this is an endless game with no goal in mind. So, going back to the hamlet. If you max out the relationships with all of the villagers, if you max out the relationships, the romances, whether it be romantic, platonic, whatever. If you max out the abilities of your farm, if you max out the upgrades for your farm, if you max everything out and you defeat the Holy Order, or at least the siblings of the Holy Order, there will be a scene where it shows an endgame. Basically, the hamlet will try and expand, and they'll find a path which leads to an abandoned castle. Now, this castle, barely negligible. No one really thought to take a look at it or give a shit about it. But this castle is abandoned. And there is said to be a majorly dark force that once reigned here. It's not the dreaded necromancer, but it was an ancient force long, long ago, before the Holy Order came around. And so, because it's in your territory, and because the hamlet is expanding anyway, and because the hamlet's kind of grateful to you for protecting them from the Holy Order, you take it. And you have the option to take the castle, refurbish it, because of course the hamlet's going to help you refurbish it, and there's your end goal. You get a fucking castle, and you rule over the hamlet as its protector in this castle. And of course the forest itself becomes kind of your territory, whereas like eventually you will have enough power to encroach and take back the land from the Holy. So yeah. There is that end goal. So that way, people can have an end game where you're like, okay, this is where I can end my game. You can 100% continue to live on the farm and do your farm thing, have your 5, 6 year, 7 year long farm, 100%. But if you want to stop the game, if you want to end the game, you can submit to going into this castle and being the necromancer again, while your zombies tend to your farm on their own, under the guide of Skelemom and Skeledad. Like under their watchful eye. You take over and you watch over the hamlet, and you essentially restart your necromancy life. If you would. What do you think about that? Will there be a bad ending? Of course, if you fail. If you fail to stop your siblings from completely exercising your land. If they come in and completely destroy your farm, destroy you, destroy your zombies, yeah, it's that's your game over. That's your bad ending. But yeah, so there is the end goal for gamers who don't want to have the endless cycle of a year 4, 5, 6 long farm. There is your end game, which is you take your castle and you revitalize your goal of wanting to be a necromancer. What the NSV stats look like? I haven't thought about that yet. Again, this is still making the progress. I'm still going through the math and all that shit. But yeah. The potion could be something similar to Adventure Time. Maybe. Who knows? The character's invulnerable to fire. Maybe. Who knows? I have a lot of thinking that I need to do for this. But yeah. Do you understand now why this game has been haunting me and how, like, as much I really want to be able to develop this? Is there scenes of necromancer talking to his undead siblings? I haven't thought about that yet. I haven't gotten that far yet, Retro. I haven't gotten that far yet. But yeah, I want to keep it as small as possible if I'm the only dev if I'm the only dev being part of it. Like, if I'm doing this by myself, then I have to think incredibly small. Because I do eventually, when I have some sort of like influx of money, I want to be able to hire actors and artists. I want to be able to get all of this done, but I want to see if I can try and make this first. If you had both the fans and funds, would you consider adding content updates? Yeah, 100%. If the game is like successful, like all of a sudden it becomes like my next like big success, then straight up I would love to add content updates, whether it be like more adventures coming at you, more storyline, more villagers coming in, events, etc., etc. I would love to add more story content. I'd love to add a lot of content. But again, I have to think very small right now because it's just me. It's not like there's a team behind me. There's not like a magical team of programmers or a magical team of artists there doing stuff with me. It's like, no, I am doing this by myself, straight up by myself. Would you be up for volunteer work from viewers, whether it be placeholder and whatnot? I have to seriously think about that because I don't want it to be like, I don't want to be heavily reliant on volunteer work as much as volunteer work is appreciated, because volunteers should be paid for their work, and if I don't have that money, then I don't see me asking that to be a good thing. I don't see me asking for volunteer work to be a good thing. I believe that everyone should be paid fairly. I believe that people should be given compensation for their work, and if I don't have it, I can't. So, yeah. Maybe look at those Nickelodeon games they keep putting on the website for inspiration for a bite-sized game. Well, this is definitely not a bite-sized game. Let's be quite honest here. This is not a bite-sized game. Will there be lore? Oh, 100%. I was just talking all about it like the last hour. But it's one of those things where I know the most difficult thing for me is going to be the programming. Because I can make this story happen 100%. I can make the lore, I can make the dialogue, I can make all of the events happen, I could write everything that happens from even the most minuscule shit. I know I can do that. It's the programming and making the game work that's going to be the issue. That's why I'm comfortable with visual novels. I'm very comfortable making visual novels. I'm not comfortable programming things that are not visual novels. So yeah. It's one of those things like that. My goal is to eventually, because I'm moving into a new place, the hope is to save enough money to make this happen. But I know it won't happen overnight, and it will definitely take a long time. It may take years. It may take fucking years for me to make this shit. But if it takes years, it is what it is. It's like, with simple gameplay patterns and things. Yeah, because I know there's going to be a day-night cycle. And here's the thing. The day-night cycle, I want it to be at player's choice. I don't want it to be like, oh, it's going to take 10 minutes to go from day to night. Like, no, that's bullshit. I hate that. I hate it. I've always hated that in sim games. I fucking despise it. So, there's going to be a day cycle. There's going to be a night cycle. So day cycle is going to be where you manage your zombies, because it's not like they're vampires where the sun's going to burn them or shit like that. It's going to be where you're not going to burn in the sun. That's where a lot of the farming is going to happen. All that stuff. But at night is going to be potentially when you either get attacked or when your zombies just kind of vibe and all that. You get money from buying your paid VNs, right? Yeah, but not a lot. itch.io and Steam take a percentage of my game. So they take a percentage of my profits. So it's going to come down to, I don't think people realize how hard and how expensive games are to make. Because let's think about this for a moment. We're thinking sprite works for the necromancer. It's both Skelemom, Skeledad. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, almost 30 sprites of just the main characters, of just these characters. That's not including the minions, all of the zombie types, like the skeletons, the zombies, the wraiths, the golems, and all that stuff. That's not including the adventurers, the Holy Order fodder, things like that. And that's just sprites. That is just sprites. You think I'd do a party mode just to vibe? That'd be funny. That'd be really funny. But then you have to think of the backgrounds. You have to think of the assets of the backgrounds, like the farming nodes, the animal sprites, the animal pen, the barn, the farmhouse, the castle, the village, the forest, the entire map of the farm, things like that. The multiple forms mean multiple sprites, exactly. Like, then not only sprites, you're thinking like art pieces of like if I have CGs, if I have the village buildings, all that stuff. It's gonna be so many things. 5 minutes earlier again, could that protector thing be its own separate game? 5 minutes earlier? That we are so far ahead. I know nothing's gonna be romantic. Yes, there is. But yeah, so could it be like an RPG where you can move around as your necromancer, like Undertale or Warrior, kind of like important thing? It's gonna be where you can move around WSAD or directional pad. You get WSAD or directional pad, 100%. So it's of the same. It's like the same style-esque as it trying to describe it in my head. So think Stardew Valley, where like you exit your farm and you go in your farmland, but instead of being the one to plant the crops and all that stuff, you talk to you basically have little farming plots that your zombies will be assigned to, and you can assign zombies there. Things like that. What's this game got you? You are 1 hour and 30 minutes late. I spent an hour and 30 minutes talking about this game. But again, it's what I can physically do by myself. Because you have getting out of the farm, dealing with the farmland. Obviously you'll have a road to go to the village. It's not going to be where you have to go like to the crossroads, then to the forest, and then to the village. No, once you leave the farm, you can go straight to the village. Because that's the only place you'd really want to go to. So there's only 2 locations. The farm and the village. And then the village is going to have the houses for all of the farmland, for all the villagers. It's going to have the town square with the marketplace. It's going to have homes for the romance options, things like that. It's just a lot of things. And then, of course, I need to get the battle mechanics down for the tower defense, because it's got to be, hey, I got to make sure that the enemies that come up, they're not just plowing through everything willy-nilly. I got to make sure it's all balanced to where the zombies are attacking them, the traps are hitting them, etc., etc. Iris with the $10. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I'm in Class of 09. I'm an extra in Class of 09. I haven't played it, but I'm in it. Necromancer takes off his shirt. Xylophone solo. Whew, my nose. My nose. But yeah, it's going to be incredibly difficult. This is going to be my biggest project yet. It's going to be a pain in the ass. And down the line, I probably will have like I will have some sort of like stick figure demo situation where I'll draw very basic stick figure sprites down the line and try and program that all in just so I can have the programming down. But yeah, what type of game art style are you going for? I'm not necessarily sure yet. I don't know whether or not I want pixel art or like almost like Paper Mario style sticker art or something like. I don't know what kind of like details I want. But like I do want it to be smaller, not cute, but like small style, mildly top down, just like Stardew and all that stuff. But yeah, so, oh my god, my nose. Why am I not itchy? Why is my nose itchy? Stop! Ah, I hate that. The nightmare's worse when you're playing... So were the nightmares worse when you were playing Graveyard Keeper? No, actually. Graveyard Keeper kind of kept my mind, like, busy. What'd you do as an extra? I was, like, the cheering, like, people in the back. We were all put into a Discord call and we just talked into our mics. And that was literally, we were just the wall of ambiance. So, yeah. Is a simpler style kind of like, yes, I guess. Because I do want it to be attractive to, like, where you could see, oh, the really hot witch lady. Like, obviously, I don't want, like, a chibi, cute art style to be, like, a very sexy witch. But I want it to be whereas, like, you can see these really hot characters and go hot, 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 without it being too overbearing of just kind of like, oh, I need the full anatomy of a character. It's like, no, keep it simple. Keep it simple, like, keep it simple. But yeah. My goal, in terms of game programming wise, will basically be Godot. I want to try and learn Godot for this. Because I think Godot is a really good open source option. But for now, the baseline will be stick figure sprites, stick figure background to try and make it work. And just making the sprites move around, trying to make a shop system, trying to make a management system, and then trying to make a tower defense. If I can make those things work, the rest should come fairly easier, question mark? But then it will come down to, once I have all the programming down and all of that shit and shenanigans down, then I'll have to worry about art and music and sound effects and voice acting. Would there be like selectable difficulties? I don't know. I genuinely do not know. Again, I gotta think small. I'm trying to think as small as I physically can. I love to add so much content. I love to be able to expand things. I want to think as small as possible so I can do it myself without having to rely on hiring like another programmer or a team, because I don't have the money to hire another programmer or a team. Eventually down the line, I'm gonna have to raise money to get artists and voice actors and a musician and all that stuff to make music and all that stuff, but I have to think as small as incredibly possible. So if I can't add difficulties, if I can't add the million things I do want to add to it, it's just gonna have to be that it is. So that way I don't overwhelm myself and go, oh god, this project's way too big for me. That's the one thing. I don't want it to explode. I don't want this game to explode on me. Because if it explodes on me, then I'm just gonna like, ugh, fuck. Everything okay? I'm fine. I was fine. I'll be fine. I'm fine. Mythical drawer with the $5. The necromancer gives all the love. And you can see a bone from a part of them with an R on each side of them. But yeah, so it's a good choice to start a 3D game development. I mean, yeah, it's just a matter of, I don't know how I'm going to do this fully 100%. But I'd like to try. I really would like to try. I want to see if I can. Because this game is really, really fun. I keep thinking about it and it just won't leave my head. And so the fact that, because it hasn't left my head, that means like that means my soul saying, you need to talk about this. You need to be able to do it. So yeah. If I manage to make like a playable demo, be like, hey guys, what do you guys think? This is a playable demo. If you would like to support it, send money through here. I can open up my coffee for it. I can change my coffee goal to be able to fund the game and be able to fund all this stuff. I'm not ever going to do a Kickstarter. I will not ever do a Kickstarter ever again. Because Kickstarter is so full of scammers and so full of people trying to get fucking free codes and all that shit. I'm like, I gave out all my codes. I made sure I gave out my codes. Please do not assume that I don't have you on my list. If you are on my list, you got my code. Do not try and get 3 or 4 or 5 extra codes out of me. It's just full of scammers. It's full of shit. I'm just like, no, I'm done. I'm done dealing with Kickstarter. So this is going to try and just be funded, as self-funded as much as possible. Would you do dev streams? I would love to. Down the line, 100%. If I could do dev streams of just like working on the game and be like, hey, what can I do here? What can I do here? And all that stuff, that would be great. But I don't want to be like, I don't want to just... I still want to do my streams of like playing games. I still want to do streams of like making going crazies. I don't want my life to be like, okay, I'm only going to focus on this game development stuff and I'm going to let the rest of my work suffer. So yeah. It's kind of like that. I also have some funny bits. You want to see some funny bits? I wrote some funny scripts that I'm like, this has to be part of the fucking game. Like, I refuse to not let this be part of the game. So there's some funny sections in this game. I think you all have a good laugh. So, of course, obviously, Skeleton, Skeleton Mom will have, like, southern accents, and, of course, Necromancer. I'm pretty sure Necromancer will not be voiced, so that way the player has a chance to voice them. So I was like, it's good to have you back, Whippersnapper. I'm so happy. That's so British. I'm so happy. I wish I still had hands to make you some new clothes. What's wrong with my outfit? Oh, well, you know, black suits you, but how will people know? No, what, Mom? Well, what your mom's trying to say is, how are people gonna identify? Identify me? You know, gender-wise. What lies beneath your robes? Your future partner's gotta know. And of course the big booming, I carry no means of sexual procreation beyond commanding the dark arts to summon forth my undead servants. Ah, so you're one of them they-thems. So you're one of them days then. Yes, Mother, if that makes things easier. Good on you. Can we move on, please? Things like that. Oh, okay, wonderful. Right, I'm so excited. Yee! I'm so excited for the good news. Yee! See you then. Come home soon then. So we have that moment of kind of like that big random moment. I want to make more like funny quotes, things like that. Where like I wanted to like mom to be supportive and dad to be like, good on you, son. My pronouns were was and were. Oh my god, that kills me. I love that. Oh my god, it knows. Ugh. Then of course we have the farming mechanic. Of course, Mom's gonna try and help with the farming mechanic. So it's like, I guess I could try farming. What do I have to do again? Just go over there to the soil and till it, then spread some seeds, water it, and wait for your crop to grow. Make sure to use some elbow grease. Okay. So what you'll do, the tutorial, big gigantic fucking quote unquote, you're gonna go up to the tilled soil and press like the E button or press the interact button. And it's gonna start with your character's gonna be just like sweating really hard. Like, you can't be tired already. You barely just started work and work those muscles. I hate to break it to you. I don't have any muscles. Oh, baby, why didn't you say so? Did my face not give it away? Oh, we thought you were wearing one of them spooky masks you wore back when you were a kid. Nostalgia and all, you know? Dad. Things like that. I was like, that's why it starts with, it could have been a farming game, but it's not a farming game. Because you can't you legitimately have no muscles to actually till the soil. You have no strength to actually do the farming work. And eventually it will go into like, oh, I can summon my minion zombie to till my soil and do the farming for me. And this, of course, brings, of course, another bout of a discussion right here. I don't know about this. Basically when you summon your first zombie, and they start planting the seeds and doing all that stuff. I don't know about this. What do you mean, Sugar Cube? Do those undead like working the farm? Seriously? What? I'm just saying their feelings matter. Just because they are undead does not mean they don't have rights. And of course, the zombie's actually going to be able to communicate. So the zombie's like, grow plants. Plants better than fighting. And there you go. They're fortified farmers. There ain't nothing to worry about now. Oh, good. I'm glad. You're really okay with farming all day? Calm job. Good. And basically, it's the whole idea of like, yeah, don't worry about making your zombies like your workhorses and all that stuff. They are completely 100% okay with farming. Because they know it's better than fighting. So yeah, there's that. There's bona fide. You got my joke. Now I know my thoughts came across the idea of like a cooking mechanic. I want there to be a random interactable when you do butchering or when you grow your first produce. Your mom's actually gonna come up to you and be like, "Darling, have you ever thought about cooking? Huh? Using your crops to make meals. I taught you so many recipes when you still live with us." Mom. "Oh, honey bear, I remember your steak dinners like it was yesterday. Those mashed potatoes, those roasted carrots. Ugh, I wish I still had a stomach. I really hate to disappoint you, but we can go to the kitchen right now and I can teach you some." Mom, I literally can't eat food. What? I'm a lich. I'm literally a skeleton with dark magic. I don't eat food anymore. And there's just gonna be this big, like, cute little cartoon moment. It's like, oh, now you done it. Now she's gonna. Oh, buddy boo, it's okay. And so, like, the cooking mechanic gone. There's no need for it because you're not gonna be able to eat it. You're not eating. Your zombies don't eat. You don't eat. Yeah, it's basically that sad, like, like that bad sad music. I was like, yeah, no cooking mechanic. But yeah. But yeah. And the current working title, I'm still kind of playing around with it, so once I figure out the title of this game, I'll make a logo for it and everything like that. But again, I would love to be able to just like get this on the floor and see if I can program it, get it on its feet, even if it's like stick figures on a shittily drawn map, things like that, get that working and see if I can make something out of it. Because I can tell that this is going to be a pain in the neck. And the thing is, I'm not a programmer. I'm never going to like say I am a programmer. I'm not a programmer. I'm a storyteller. So I know when this game is going to come out, when this game first comes out, there's going to be so many bugs, so many issues, so many exploits, blah, 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 blah. I genuinely am going to try and do the best I can to fix things, but I will never, ever guarantee it, as I am not a programmer. I am not someone who knows programming inside out. I'm not into coding. All I can do is just try and make this happen. So, yeah. The pain, the necromancer. Torrential rainfall of tears. So yeah, secretly drink smoke to strengthen bones. Oh, that'd be hilarious. What about cooking food for significant others? Maybe, but that's down the line. That's if I can add on to it. Again, trying to dim this down. So I know I have to make a management sim, a day and night cycle. I need to be able to manage zombies, which will have basically tables of the animals, the produce, the spell components, the crafting mechanics, and also I'm going to call them missions, where like if the mole man or the druid comes up to you and wants to hire on and buy some of your zombies, to rent out your zombies to help them out, you can get that mechanic to go, and basically that'll go within a day and night cycle. I have yet to figure out how long that can take. And then a tower defense system. Because whatever zombies are on the field will be your fighters for the tower defense. So yeah. Do you see how difficult this can be? For a person who knows very little about coding other than Python's and RenPy. Yeah, other than Python and RenPy. But yeah, so if I could suddenly learn how to program and fix every bug that comes in, then great. But I can tell that this is going to be a pain in the neck. One of the cat girl children give you milk as a thank you gift. Oh, and you're forced to pretend to drink it out of kindness. Oh, that's so sweet. It's kind of undead. Would siblings be if we did turn them into? I don't know. I genuinely do not know. More the business sim side. A little bit, yeah. Zombies. Good old reduce, reuse, recycle, reanimate. Did I miss a name reveal? I haven't done a name reveal yet. I'm still kind of working out whether or not I want the name to be the title, so I'm not revealing it just yet. If I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be the title, then I'll have someone make a logo for it, and that will be the official logo for the game. So I can get started on officially dolling it out and pouring assets into it. Like, I know I can do all the writing. I could do all of the big heavy work on just the lore, making sure it all fits together. And of course, I'm going to do the heavy lifting on the programming as much as I can. with how much I can learn and figure out from Godot. I may have to use like YouTube videos on like how do other people program tower defenses and farming mechanics and all that shit. I obviously gonna probably take a good use of that. But it's going to be a lot of just heavy lifting on that end. The only things that I'm gonna need eventually money for at that regard is going to be art for all of the characters, the backgrounds, the items, and then the voice acting, which I want to have full voice acting in this game other than the necromancer. I don't want the necromancer to have a voice because I want that to be the player. And then well, obviously, like, I may have a voice for the necromancer regardless, just for accessibility purposes, but that's down the line because the necromancer is going to speak a lot, and that's going to be the most expensive part. Then, of course, the music, because I want there to be music in the game. And then sound effects. Sound effects is very important to the game. Very, very important to the game. But yeah. So, I yelled at you all for an hour and 45 about a game that I'm trying to build. Can you get like an Animal Crossing sound like for the necromancer speaking? That'd be funny as hell. That'd be funny as hell. That'd be hilarious. Yeah. Just have Sans' voice come out of it. No, Papyrus' voice coming out of it. Oh my god. But yeah. Oh my god. I am exhausted. Holy shit, even the music's like, wrap it up! Even the music's like, wrap it up. Sans skeleton cameo. Only if I can get permission from Toby Fox. I still have to get permissions if I ever do get any sort of cameos. I can't just be like, hey, there's a cameo. It's like, no. I gotta permission first. Does the necromancer like puns? I think the necromancer is like... The necromancer, in my opinion, is a very tired, very much like, I tried my best, and now I'm just gonna vibe in this farm and just live my life. And I'm so sick and tired of this holy order. I'm so sick and tired of people killing my zombies. I am just tired. He is a the necromancer is a tired, old, crackety skeleton. But yeah. You probably get it. Some folks are very relaxed and cool about it. I'd still have to ask. So yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that today. I just genuinely want to talk about that today. And I think what I'll do is I'll release this VOD publicly. Should I release this VOD publicly? Or should I just keep it as members only? No, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm going to make it regardless if anyone takes ideas or not. I don't give a shit. Yeah, because it's at this point where this game, I don't care if someone's like, ooh, this is my idea now. Like, no, I'm going to make this game first. I've already been making this for 8 fucking years. This game has been haunting my fucking dreams. There's no way this game's not getting made. I don't give a shit someone's like, hey, I stole your game, hurdy-durdy-dur. No, you didn't. My game's my game. This is my game. I'm making it. Fuck you. So, it's like, I've worked way too hard, and I've been haunted way too long for this fucking game to just escape my fingertips. And the thing is, the copyright for this game has already been made. Because, guess what? The minute it becomes public and all that stuff, and the minute I've already put it on paper, the copyright automatically is made. That's how the law works. So I was just like, I don't care. I don't care if someone comes in and be like, I made this game but better. I'm still making my game. And if people can be like, you copied this game. No, I didn't. I came up with this game first. I've been working on this game for 8 fucking years. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if someone's being so fucking lazy and just taking ideas. This has been haunting me for 8 years. This is a game I'm going to pour my heart and soul to when I have the time and when I have the chance. If I somehow win the lottery, if I somehow win some sort of X amount of money to where I can pay off my debt and then work on this, then this game is 100% going to be my top priority. I want this game to come out. I want this game to happen. And if it has to be slowly, bit by bit, if it has to be like where my channel becomes, hey guys, here's week 52 of me working on this game. I'm still trying to figure out the programming of the tower sim, whatever. But yeah. I'm tired of running away from my ideas, and this one is going to be my step back in. I'm going to step back in into being game. Maybe crowdfunding. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can do crowdfunding, other than maybe coffee. If I can do coffee, sure. But I'm never, ever, ever going to touch Kickstarter. I'm never, ever going to touch Indiegogo. Because there are too many scammers on there who are trying to get free shit and try and just be like, oh, but I paid, but you haven't found my ID and all that stuff, and it's making me spend like hours upon hours trying to make sure I'm not trying to screw someone over. I'm like, I don't want to screw anyone over, and it's giving me that gaslighty heart attack. Like, no, I was like, But yeah. So. It'll take a while for this, because I'm by myself. Yeah, like, yeah, start with stick figures, shooting pellets. I'm gonna start with stick figures, and there won't be any, like, shooting mechanics just yet. It's pretty much gonna be all physical combat, where it's like, if the adventurers or the Holy Order comes in, they're gonna try and swing with, like, swords and shields. I think it'd be a little too unbalanced to add archers. I know it makes sense to add archers and magic and all that shit. I don't have the mental capacity to add that just yet, until I at least get the foundation of, hey, blocks are gonna come in, and when they attack something, they'll do damage. And then they'll also get damage. Basically, it's damage upon damage. It's gonna be auto damage. There's no gonna be like, oh, you missed! Like, no, it's gonna be damage to damage. They're gonna automatically hit. The zombie will hit first, then the adventurer will hit zombie. So we'll see who survives that encounter, if you but yeah, so hopefully I can get something down after my move, but I know this is gonna be one. Would you make enemy stats publicly available once the game comes out? Yeah, of course. Because I want people to know, like, this is what's gonna come out, this is what's gonna happen. You could potentially get this kind of adventure team, or that kind of adventure team. No turntable. No, it's gonna be... The combat's gonna be once an encounter happens, once an adventurer collides with either your zombie or a trap, your zombie or your trap comes first. That's gonna be how that goes. It's not, the attacker comes first. No, it's defense goes first. That's the balance. It's gonna be the defense comes first. So, zombie will attack first, adventurer attack second. So yeah. What else is there? Not sure what else. There's really not sure what else I could say. Yeah, tie goes to it. Well, no, it's not going to be a tie like rock, paper, scissors style. It's going to be attack. All attacks will land. But yeah, all attacks are going to land. All damage will be dealt. So if like a zombie goes against an adventurer, zombie does 5 damage. Adventurer can do 5 damage. If like, let me just show an example. So I'm gonna scroll past my sample script. Like, this is just idea bull busting right now. So let's see if zombie versus adventurer. So we're gonna do some math here real quick. So zombie HP has 5, and then adventurer HP has like 10 because they're an adventurer and not a zombie. So damage, so armor. So yeah, armor would be. So I believe I put it as 5, and then of course the adventurer is gonna be a little better, because they're an adventurer, 10. But damage is 5, and then of course damage 5. Because they're just a basic adventurer. So how it's gonna work is zombie goes first, then adventurer. So if I can spell adventurer correctly, so they'll do 5 damage. So does 5 damage to adventurer. Now that's the thing with the armor. That's what I'm trying to figure out, how to balance the armor out. Because if the armor is 10. They could potentially take off like a percentage of it. So then again, that's what I'm trying to figure out, like kind of how to make that work math-wise. So if the zombie by itself does 5 damage, but they have an armor of 10, I could take off like, if it's like, for example, 10 out of 30, then I could take off like a third of it. So armor saves, the armor protects like for like a 1/3. Basically, if it's like a 10 out of 30 chance, a 10 out of 30, if 30 is the max armor, or like it could be like a 50 max armor. So I mean 50 could be max armor. I could do 50 with max armor. Again, gotta think of the math. So then let's go ahead and do like a 1/5. So they'll only take 4 damage. So the adventurer stands still at 6 HP. Then of course, adventurer then gets to their attack. Yeah, the adventurer gets to attack. They do 10 damage to zombie if they collide with zombie. But of course, AR, they have, so it's like, it'd be 1/10. So they would take 1/10 out of the damage. So they'd take 9 damage. They would still kill the zombie. Yeah, so like that. So that's the kind of math I would have to deal out. But again, my situation is defense will always go first. That's because the zombies know you're coming. The zombies can see you coming. It's not like surprise attack where like the adventurer will get the advantage. No, there is no advantage here. You're home turf. This is home turf. They know they need to defend. So zombie gets to defend first. Adventurer comes second. I still have yet to determine whether or not I want armor to be a part of it. Armor would be great to be able to make sure that your zombies aren't weak. But I need to figure out how armor will negate some of the damage. Adventure only does 5 minutes. Oh, right. I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm just saying. Sorry, my bad. I'm just doing math. So they take a 1/10. If it's rounded up, it would still be 4. Zombie does 1 HP left. Whatever. Yeah, so, yeah, things like that. So, regardless, again, gotta do math. Don't even worry about it. This is just sample math. But yeah, so... What in the Michaela are you doing? I spent 2 hours talking about my video game. Where have you been? But yeah, so it's things like that where I have to do a lot of math, being like, okay, in a scenario where an adventurer collides with zombie will attack first, then adventurer will attack, and then that will be resolved, and then a new round. Zombie will attack first, then adventurer, then that resolves. So yeah. But it will always be in favor of the necromancer. So zombies will always go first. So yeah, I don't know whether or not I want this to be time-based or if it's just like auto, you see the auto fight. I kind of wish it was auto fight, like I think an actual tower defense where like you're kind of helplessly watching. Because I want your zombies to straight up be like let them take care of it. And if I do ever do like a, hey, let's do a donation stream, a game dev donation stream where you donate this amount, you can design a zombie. Where like I would like for there to be like, if someone wants to be a special zombie that you can get in the game, then you can 100% go for that. Does it mean this armor can negate damage? I don't know. I haven't yet to figured out armor yet, so I haven't figured out armor, how that's gonna work retro. But yeah, I'm just like, oh god, I just completely closed everything off. Oh god. I am still dumb. So yeah, like I am still dumb. Yeah, so maybe the zombies can hit a little harder at night because the adventurer is finding it a little harder to fight at night. Perhaps, maybe. I don't know. I mean, worst case scenario, and this is the gigantically like worst case scenario. It would be like, once it hits night, you're gonna see like the night sky, and you're gonna see like a bar of the fence, and that way I don't have to animate the attackers coming in to attack your farm. And basically, you'll see like a description: the battle wages on, the adventurers attack, your zombies take this amount of damage, and all that stuff. That could save animation time, but I really want the player to be able to see the zombies actually try and defend your farm like that. If that makes sense, maybe. In a way? Does that make sense? Kind of? Possibly? Yeah. So that's kind of the dealio. Make the fighting between the zombie and the adventure fairer. Yeah. I like surprises. Well, I'm gonna make this VOD public, so it's fine. I'll make this VOD public so that way people kind of know. This is it's extremely big. It's extremely big project. But I want to be able to, like, make it happen one way or another. Simply because this has just been fun. So, yeah. The necromancer try and help the battle by throwing out some magical attacks? Maybe. Again, I don't know. I want to make it simple first. And if I can add the necromancer helping out, great. If not, then the necromancer is just going to rely on the zombies. So, too big, small. I have to think small first. Once I'm able to do the small shit, I can add on to the small shit. Will you be voicing all the characters, or will someone else be voicing it, or no voicing at all? I would like to hire voice actors. I don't want to do all the voice acting alone. Doing all the voice acting alone would save me a lot of fucking money. And I'm going to toot my own horn and say that I could probably voice all these characters. They just won't sound like different people. But I want to hire voice actors. I want voice actors to be able to be part of this game, because I think they'd enjoy it. But yeah. Enemies would be like adventure, knight, warrior, archer. I don't want archery. Not until I can figure out the balance of mechanics. Once I figure out the balance of the battles, then I can see if archery is even worth adding in, because archery is long range, and how would you fight against long range with zombies who can only do short range? So, yeah. But yeah. There's just a lot. I'm now also very, very tired. Oh my god. Oof. If anything, I'd probably be either Skelemom or, like, the vampire. Straight up, that might be me. So I'm just gonna, like, I don't know. But I don't know. Again, oof. Archery seems like after beta content. Yeah, so, like, I would like to, if archery becomes a thing, it'll be after I get the main content in. So I want to be able to try to get that work. Yeah. Oof. Thank you for letting me, like, vent and rant and rage about my game that I want to make. Maybe, like, once a month until I become, like, fully invested in trying to make this game happen. When I'm done moving in and done doing all my work, maybe I'll be able to be like, hey guys, take a look at this game, and do, like, game dev streams and all that shit. Mom and Dad be voiced by Mickey and Brian. Maybe. I do want Brian to be involved, I just don't know how. So I have this game, chat shows up fully invested. Yeah. Just having a really moody necromancer be like, you know what, no. I do want, if there is voice acting for the necromancer, I want the necromancer to be 100% an androgynous, non-binary person. I want the necromancer to be fully androgynous. I want this necromancer to fully understand that they have no gender anymore in terms of physicality. Obviously, if I do add pronouns, you could still have pronouns and all that stuff, and that'd be great. But baseline will be androgyny, baseline will be genderless. So, yeah. Yeah. Alright, I'm tired. Thank you for letting me rant and rave at you guys for 2 hours. I'll leave this spot open, so that way people know what's going on. If I become more invested in this, will be my first. This is technically would be my first game dev stream. Be able to make this happen. But yeah. Yeah. I hope that this worked out. I really do hope it works out, because it'd be really cool to be able to have all my cool, like, ideas come out. I keep saying that, but I haven't actually got started yet. But I think today I'm just gonna rest, and because I still need to move the rest of my stuff. I need to move my house and get ready for Friday, because we're doing a big move on Friday. Alright. But yeah. This won't go member only, this will 100%. Haven't done Seduce Me game dev stream? I have done, like, well, that was years ago. I haven't done a game dev stream in, like, forever. So, I'm gonna go rest. Do you have people in mind voicing any of these characters? I have a couple of people in mind, but I have to ask and see what their rates are. I want to make sure I pay people properly their rates, if possible. But mind you, please remember, I'm solely doing this by myself. This may take years. This 100% may take years, unless, like, some magical producer's like, here, have thousands upon thousands of dollars to make it happen. Go, have fun. I'm like, okay, I'll take the thousands of dollars and go and make a game happen. But I doubt that will ever happen. So please know that this may take years. This may take me a while. This is going to take quite a while. But I want to make sure I get this done right. I want to make sure I get this done properly. And if I can, I want to make sure that this is enjoyable for everyone. One way or another. Alright. I'm gonna go now. So, thanks for joining me. I'm gonna leave this up, and I'm gonna make this public, so that way people can watch the VOD. Anyways. Thanks everyone for coming. Have wonderful dreams. Wish me luck. I mean that. Wish me luck.